Welcome back. Today we are looking at addition with the friendly number strategy. This is part of the 3rd grade Unit 1, Lesson 1. Part 1 of the lesson was using place value strategy for addition. This lesson is using friendly number strategy. Let's say we've got a problem. We want to do 57 plus 41. We want to turn one of these addends into a friendly number, and by that we mean a number that's easy to work with. So we're going to follow some steps. We're going to decide which addend is closer to a multiple of 10. So remember, these are our addends, 57 and 41. I'm going to go ahead and use a problem directly from our Reengage, and this is how it looks like in your book. And if you're using a Chromebook, and some of the teachers are sharing the lessons online, so you might be able to type in your answers. I always recommend writing them in a notebook and then typing them in when you're done, because it's awfully hard to think and type and look for the keys and the numbers at the same time. That's my recommendation. So here's our problem, 57 plus 41. We want to decide which addend is closer to a multiple of 10. Now we're using multiples of 10 as our friendly number. Multiples of 10 are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, or 100. So let's look at each addend and determine how close they are to a multiple of 10. So 57. Well, 57 is between 50 and 60. It's closer to 60 because if I count from 57, 58, 59, 60, I've added 3. So I'm going to choose a darker color here. So 57 plus 3 is 60. Okay, there's 1. Let's look at 41. Now our directions say add what is needed. Because you could say, oh, 41, I only have to subtract 1. Well, let's learn how to do it this way first. How many do we need to add to get to the next multiple of 10? Well, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. I have to add 9. And you might have known that right off because you know that 1 plus 9, equals 10, and we've already got 40. So 41 plus 9 is 50. Which one of those was easier to do? Which one did we have less to do? Well, I like the 3. I think that 3, is easier to work with. I can just, add 3 to one side and subtract 3 from the other, and we'll be good. Let's do that now. Okay, so we've decided which addend is closer to a multiple of 10. So we're going to add what is needed to make that addend a friendly number. So we've got 57. We're adding 3. I'm going to circle the plus sign, the addition sign, and 57 plus 3 is 60. Now, because we've added 3, we have to subtract the same value. So we added 3 to the 57. We have to subtract 3 from the 41. We can't add 3 because that's adding to our total pile. Say we have a pile of 57 pennies and a pile of 41 pennies. We can take 3 from the 41 and add it over here, and this one becomes 60. Then we have to remember to change this 41 and subtract that 3. We're adding them all together, so we can do some interchanging here to make it easier to add. Now 41 minus 3. You might know this right off. You might recognize, 11 minus 3. Well, which is what we're going to do when we regroup. I can't take a 3 from 1, but I can go to the tens and grab a 10. I can trade. So I'm going to take, it used to be called borrowing. We don't call it borrowing anymore. We call it regrouping. So, and that's really what it is, because we're not borrowing it, we're just trading. So this becomes 3 tens, and this becomes 10 plus 1, which is 11. And that's why we get that 11. 11 minus 3 is 8. And then we just bring our 3 down. So now we've got 60 plus 38. I'm going to write that right under here. We've got 60 plus 38. Now you might look at that and you might say, oh, I can add 57 plus 41 in my head. Well, good for you. Maybe you look at this and say, I can add 60 plus 38 in my head. Good for you. I think it's easier to add this one. Now, if you want to add in your head, I prefer to write things down. And I'm going to write it down to show you the steps. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 3 is 9. The answer is 98. Now let's just check that. Let's just check and see, you know, if this works. Let's add 57 and 41. 7 plus 1 is 8. 5 tens and 4 tens, 9 tens. Well, look at that. We got the same answer. This one is easier to do mentally. It's also a little bit easier to do because we're adding with zeros. And adding with zeros is easier for a lot of us than adding, you know, with digits. But either way works. This is another strategy, and it's using the friendly number strategy, where we find which addend is closest to a multiple of 10 and turn it into a multiple of 10 by adding or subtracting. Now, how is this going to help you with your homework? Well, when you look at another problem, you can look at this one and see what steps we did. You could say, oh, okay, we decided which addend is closer to a multiple of 10. We decided it was the 57. We decided we had to add 3. So add what is needed to make that addend a friendly number. We added 3 to the 57. Subtract the same value from the other addend. We added 3. We now have to subtract 3, and we're subtracting it from the 41. So we did that math. Add the 2 new addends. The 2 new addends are 60 and 38. And I can go 0 plus 8 is 8. 6 plus 3 is 9. 98. Now, we did it the standard algorithm way to check our answers. But this doing a problem with the friendly number strategy does give us a good understanding of how our number system works. And that's why it's good to learn different strategies, because it deepens our understanding of our number system. Thank you for joining me.